Welcome to episode 38. Oh, Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vickie Morgan.
I'm Josh Morgan.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't realize this was episode 38. I think I'm shocked and amazed every time you say a new number. I'm like, what, has it been that long?
I think it's similar to when people post, I don't know, who said it about Facebook, that it's constantly either what people are eating or that they can't believe how old their kid is. And that's pretty much where we are with the podcast. Like, what? They grow up so fast.
They grow up so fast.
Yeah. Got it. I'm excited about this episode. I haven't told you what I'm going to talk about today.
That's no different than every other week.
Yeah, but I don't even know.
I got no clue what's going on.
I'm going on a wing this week. I'm feeling kind of brave.
Yeah?
So, yeah, it's been a good week.
I like your shirt. So I just want to say that I washed a couple of white shirts the other day. And you got a pretty cool pair of green overalls from Hempwear downtown.
Linen.
Very cool linen green, bright green.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even consider when I was just putting everything in the washer. I knew I wasn't going to dry them, but I didn't even consider that they'd have like dye in them that would leak into the rest of the laundry. Mm-hmm. So anyway, you had two white T-shirts in there, and now
there's three altogether. There was a tank top and two T-shirts.
Oh yeah, a tank top too. So
now a lovely shade of green,
light green, like a
perfect complement to the overalls. By the way,
it almost looks like you were outside mowing grass, like that shade, that hue, that green hue that gets on your socks
like
after you mow grass.
Grass stain.
Like a big green grass stain.
I love it. I think it's really sweet. Like
whatever makes you feel better about me ruining three of your shirts.
Whatever. Didn't you? I feel like asking you this. Do you remember one time you got me a whole bunch of pajamas from
Kohl's or something?
No, La Vie en Rose or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
And of course, they all went through the washing cycle once and came out with like arms for a large person and bodies for a very tall person. For some reason, the shapes just went
unwearable.
And the lady yelled at you. Remember, it was during lockdown, so it was a whole thing to get to the mall. And then the lady yelled at you and said you didn't know how to do laundry. So I just want to say, you are very good at doing laundry.
Thank you.
And I know we're going to be bombarded with questions. And I'm sorry to the production crew to have to take all these in, but Josh did not use hot water on the overalls and T-shirts.
We always use cold water to wash.
Yeah. And it just rained, which is really weird.
I haven't separated darks and lights since I was a kid because I just, I live my life. I just go on about my life, and it bit me in the ass this week. That's all.
Well, you also have a thing with colors too. Like sometimes you'll say, "Oh, that's a lovely purple," and it's like, "Dude, that is burgundy." Or pinks and reds and oranges, we disagree on a lot. And we have such a beautiful relationship, and we never disagree. But sometimes on colors, it's like, what is he on? Like, are you on acid all the time? Because you see weird colors. I don't see the same colors. Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out. I think
we might just have different names for the same colors.
Possibly. And I'm just going with, like, I try to take a survey with the kids. Like, do they have the same whatever it is you have with colors? Because I feel like that's pretty basic stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, am I boring you? He didn't even need to yawn. He just did that for spite.
I can do that on command.
Okay, so I got a couple of So Nothing Happened stories.
All right. Is it about the forest fires?
No.
Oh.
That's a bit cold, honestly. So we're driving in an Uber tonight.
No pun intended.
We were driving in an Uber, and the guy's driving, and it was just a regular experience. The kids are in the backseat with me, and his phone just started, screaming. It jarred everybody in the car, and we were like, "What is that?" And he said, "Oh, it's an alert." And then all four of us looked at our phones, and I knew it was the consensus in the whole car was, why is he getting an alert and we're not? And so we're all just like super tense and like, is it coming close to our house? And I go, I don't know. I guess they don't care if the Android users burn. I didn't think the driver was listening, and he busted out laughing. And we had a whole, he said,
maybe you guys should get Apple. Maybe you guys should get iPhones.
And we said, well, if we survive. And that was another burst of laughter. And it was very funny and very, very morbid because I don't even know. I don't watch the news, so I don't know on purpose because unless it affects me, I don't want to know. I mean, unless I know there's something on my street that's going to, that poses a threat to me, I don't want to know what's going on because I'm too old and I've had too much trauma in my own life. I'm trying to forget. And so I don't need to take on any, I'll help people if someone knocks on the door and needs help. But I'm probably not going to be the first person out there going, hey, let's start a Red Cross shelter across the street. Like, I'm just not that altruistic. But Yeah, there's a big bunch of forest fires going on, and I'm trying to, from what I understand, there's some trees burning. Like a lot of them, not to understate, but I haven't heard of any property damage. I haven't heard of a single house being lost. I mean, they're evacuating. The crews here are phenomenal. Apparently, we only have 2 water bombers, and I'm not sure where the rest of Canada is or all the United States.
Apparently, Quebec is sending some water bombers.
Oh, fantastic. It's only been burning for 2 weeks or something. But anyway, so we've got 2 water bombers. They're working their guts out. Firefighters are amazing. But I haven't heard any stories. I know there was one woman who gave birth. She got trapped up in her cabin, and the rescuers went in and got her to the hospital. And
trapped in her cabin is bad enough, but she went into labor trapped in her cabin.
Yeah. But she got trapped in there. That's the thing, which could send you into labor with a stressful thing like that. But I haven't heard of any actual property damage. So it's so there's forest fires, which is pretty normal. I mean, the LA fires, people lost their homes.
That was a lot.
They were displaced and they lost everything. And here, it seems like forest fires, and I could be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are forestry specialists out there who will, and I saw this on I don't know, National Geographic or something, but I think it's good for forests to start over. Fire is a natural part of, and people are saying, people are throwing out cigarette butts, or there's an arsonist, and it's I think this might be a thing that is kind of a good thing for a lot of forest.
Yeah.
I
had a friend in the Air Force that when he was a kid, his parents, something happened. Him and his siblings were left home for the weekend, and their parents went on vacation or something. And they were tasked with, one of their chores was to mow the grass. They had a really big yard, so they didn't want to do it. So one of the siblings got the bright idea to pour kerosene or something in the yard and burn it instead of cutting it. And it was it almost went out of control. They had to get the hoses out and get it was getting into the woods and stuff. Anyway, their parents were furious, but then the next couple months, it was it grew back lusher than ever. It was beautiful green.
Yeah. And my understanding is that's what happens after a forest fire, is that there's new life, new greenery and stuff that shows up after a forest. It's after a fire. It's actually very, very good for the environment. I mean, maybe the smoke isn't, but it's not like chemicals. It's just trees.
Yeah.
So I don't totally know, as Josh would say. So it's not like nothing happened. But
was that what you were planning on talking about?
No. Not even close. I wasn't going to touch the forest fires because it's such a sensitive thing, and people are freaking out about it. They're starting to yell at each other if somebody has a backyard barbecue or uses one of those propane fireplaces. People are not fireplaces, outdoor propane fire pits. People are calling the police on their neighbors, and it's pandemic all over again. We're just going to turn on each other. I guess our lives are so good that the slightest, that old proverb about if someone bumps into you while you're carrying, hot coffee, what spills out if someone bumps into you, and it's whatever you're carrying. So it turns out it doesn't take much to spill the asshole out of us here. And the tourism commercials will tell you, this is the nicest place in the world, but it's not. It's kind of mean here.
Can be.
Yeah. And so one story I want to talk about, and it's inspired by someone recommended a book for me last week, and I went and checked it out, and I was very inspired by the book. It was intense. So the book is called Ashes No More, and the lady's name is Ashley Brooke. Fabulous book, absolutely fabulous. And I feel like I have been brave in my writing, and I've shared stuff that have made people clutch their pearls, and I can't believe she said that. Ashley took the cake. It was oh man, wow. I felt like I needed to step it up a little bit. It was brutally honest and so funny. Just what a sense of humor. It was just brilliant. Kind of like a forest fire, and all these new little growths come up, because it's I hate that these things happened in her life, but man, what she turned it into was just brilliant. But anyway, big fan, Ashley, and I left a review. It was the first one in Canada. So that's really cool. But anyway, I read her book, and it was a really, really great read. And so I've been kind of thinking, over the last couple of days, I know we were about to record a new podcast and stuff, and I was man, this thing I've been carrying for the last few weeks is so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed, and I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to think about it, and it's killing me, and it's making me irritable, and it was what are you so embarrassed about? Because after it's all said and done, and the smoke has cleared, pardon the pun, that's going to be probably a theme today, but it was you're going to talk about it eventually, right? You're probably going to write a book about it, because that's how it works. Suffer through, and then later on tell people about it. And it's what? Couldn't you just share it now with these people who are listening every week, who reach out and say, hey, hang in there, or hey, my wife's a doctor, ask her for advice. And like these sorts of things are happening. So it's like, you know what? So here's the deal. And it's a very are you mad at me kind of themed thing. And then I have a whole bunch of announcements and excuse me, my goodness.
I'm just going to sit back and listen today.
Okay. So here's my are you mad at me story. Because I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to process it, and I'm very much inviting comments and thoughts and suggestions on this because I don't need to win. I just want to process it and feel better about it and move on with my life because this will be a distant memory in a month from now. So 2 years ago, I was invited to be on a board here in the province. And of course, little side note, Newfoundland is about 300 years behind progressive policies. And some stuff, like we were really, really good with gay marriage, and Canada's really good with MAID, with medical assistance in death. There's like lots of, like, you can get an abortion. There's weed has been legal for a long time. Cannabis has been legal for a really long time. Like lots of progressive things. And then you land on Newfoundland and it's like you go back in time. And so there, like federal buildings here, not accessible by wheelchair. You know, no markings on the stairs for people who have a visual impairment. Things like federal buildings where you can't go get a service from a federal agency and it's in a building that a wheelchair can't get into. And they're like, it's okay. This building was grandfathered. That's not even my point. That's not my story. What I'm saying is there are some archaic, like the not child care, what do you call it? Child protection. There's some stuff that goes on here that would turn your stomach. Like it's bad. And not in the interest of the kids either. It's bad. So, okay. So we're all, okay, these are all things that are like, you know, pretty far from me, kind of like the forest fires, like whatever. It's pretty far from me. So 2 years ago, I was invited to be on a provincial board for the AESL, which is welfare. It's Section 8 if you're in the US. I don't know what it is in other countries. So welfare. This is something that I've been embarrassed about since I think 12 is my most embarrassing memory of it, of like, you know, having to bring a slip to school to get my books paid for, or, you know, not able to do Valentine's because the checks came out on the 15th and Valentine's was on the 14th and you need to really buy them before the 14th to pass them out on that day. So there was a few years that I went and gave them out after the fact. It kind of missed the boat, those sorts of things. But welfare is one of my triggers that puts me in a state of super, like, you want to see me when I was 20, like a rabid beast, like uncut, unfiltered, no couth. Not that I'm all that couthy now, but
you got some couth.
I have some grace, I think. But you want to turn me into a feral, savage animal, like animal in the woods with no domestication. It's welfare. You bring up welfare for me, and it just, the idea of running out of money, and Canada has this wonderful system of you can be on welfare for years. I know in Maine there's a limit. I don't know about other states, but in Maine there's a limit of you can have it for 5 years exactly, and that's like as a couple.
Cumulative.
Yeah, as a couple, as an individual, there's no like I can marry somebody that still has his 5 years. It's you get 5 years. That's it. What they do after that, I have no idea. Anyway. So being a person who grew up with many, many years of welfare being our source of income, Dad worked a lot. He did a lot of things, had my kind of luck, I guess, and my kind of mental stuff, you know, where blaming people, you know, I got this great idea, nobody will help me. Like a lot of those things that I've had to work on. Anyway, welfare is a trigger. So 2 years ago when I got invited to be on this board, is the AESL Income Support Appeal Board. So if somebody gets a real raw deal, I'm one of the people on the board that listens to the appeal and decides, like, you can kind of override some of the decisions of the department. Like, you can't go against the guidelines and policies. Like, some of it is like law. But then sometimes there are CSOs, customer service
officers,
sure, who interpret the laws and the rules, and sometimes get a bit of a chip on their shoulder, and sometimes are prone to giving people a really hard time and interpreting things a certain way. And then their supervisors kind of back them up, and then the whole system. And then so somebody like that's, you know, the big one right now is conjugal. Like if people are living together and not saying that they're living as a couple. So it's like they're looking at your Facebook posts and they're looking at your bank statements and they're looking at, you put an engagement picture on there from 7 years ago.
They get investigators like digging into your personal life.
300 years. So not 300, to be fair. It was my grandmother's time first stories that I heard. So she would have been 120 this year. So we're going back about 100 years, okay? Where people, like back then, welfare would provide beds if you didn't have one, because Newfoundland was destitute before we joined Confederation. A lot of immigrants who were living off the fishery, and I mean absolutely destitute. And so when Canada joined Confederation and welfare was an option, they kind of bought our votes to join the country. And so if you needed a bed, if you needed a stove or a fridge or something like that, they would provide it. They would pay your rent. They'd give you a small amount of money to live on. It was a whole thing. But they had these welfare workers who could come to your house. And if you said you needed a bed, now my grandmother had 10 children. And at one point there was like 6 of them into one bed. Okay. I don't know how many she had in her bed, but there was like one room with 6 kids and the other room had 4 small ones in with them. And they were probably, no exaggeration, I don't think they had king beds.
Yeah.
So they would ask for a new bed, and they didn't have room for big extravagant beds. It was need. It was like, dragging to the floor. And welfare workers would come in and bounce on the mattress to see if it was not bouncy enough. Like if you really needed a new bed, that sort of stuff. Or like they'd show up and like, they would just, intrusive is not even. So this is 100 and something years ago. Okay. We've come a long way, right? No. I have ended up on welfare a couple of times since being out on my own as an adult. One time in my late teens, and then when you and I first got together, and I had 3 jobs, still couldn't make it. We ended up on social assistance. It was horrible, and the same questions were still there. The same judgment, the same intrusiveness, the same just But what are you supposed to do? It's free money, right? That's not free money. You earn it. You earn it with your soul. So it's been years. We've been away from it for a really long time. However, when we first moved back to Newfoundland, wrote an article about it. It's not a secret. Wrote an article about it. We were having a tough time. What were we doing? Couldn't even tell you. I don't even remember. We just
landed, and I was working on substitute teaching work here and there, and it was just, we were trying to get our footing and get money, together to be here.
Any chance anyone's interested in this Newfoundland style, like this Newfoundland culture story?
Probably, yeah.
Are people like, come on, tell me more about self-publishing? I don't know.
I'm sure it'll tie in.
So we came back. It might not. Well, so we come back to Newfoundland, and literally at the same time, there's articles in the news about there's a shortage of substitute teachers. They can't find enough substitute teachers. Josh is home with a clean background, certification, master's degree, can't get a look in. And the advice is, you got to go meet the principals and introduce yourself. Press the flesh.
Yeah.
Put your face in front of them. And it was like, but it helps if you know somebody. Okay, so you're going to introduce yourself and ask for work. Okay. It was not true. I don't know if there just weren't any jobs, or if you just aren't charming enough or good looking enough, or they don't like your funny accent.
It was hard to get substitute teaching gigs. I got a few. I got a few days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In that first 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then around the same time, we had an eviction notice from the place we were living. The person who owned it, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. The person who owned the house decided she wanted to move back to Newfoundland, and so legally evicted us. We are not friends anymore. It kind of destroyed the friendship, obviously. So anyway, the good news at the time was I had written an article for CBC talking about how hard it was, that we were going to Salvation Army for a Christmas hamper. It was public. So it's kind of hard to hide from that. And so we get evicted, and lo and behold, when you're on welfare, have small kids, and you've been evicted from your home in the winter in Newfoundland, your name gets bumped up on the Newfoundland Labrador housing list. Thank God. So, okay, so there was a period of time there. And then, we're coming up into that time. We're pretty close to the pandemic. So we started a video production company. And for that year that we started our production company, it was a program under welfare where they were trying to get people to work. Now, this is where it's a little bit messed up. They help you build a business plan, and then you incorporate your company. So you go from welfare to owner of a corporation. Now, I don't know about,
it's a big step.
I don't know about you.
Big leap.
I don't know corporate tax. I don't know how to file income tax for a corporation. It's like, oh, are you setting us up to fail? I don't know. But it seems like kind of a not well thought out thing because you had to incorporate. Like, okay, so then we become shareholders.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a video production company. We're allowed to make money, and they'll give you a buffer where they'll send you your welfare checks anyway, and you're allowed to make up to like 20 grand or something for the full year. So that contract went into 2020.
COVID
and then
time.
it ended at the end of March. And you remember, mid-March, Newfoundland shut down. So guess what happened to Vickie, who hates being on welfare and hates talking to welfare agents and all these things? Doesn't matter. You're on welfare. Okay. Now, I wrote a book about this. I wrote a song about it. And I made a television show. It's still on Bell 5 TV. Okay? We got a TV contract at the end of that year. So as soon as I got the contract, I call into social services and I say, stop sending us money. I have a job. We have some work. It's fine. The agent was an absolute bitch. She wanted to know what I was going to be working at. I said, it's not really any of your business. And she was like, well, if you'd let me finish. So she finishes her sentence and then she waits for a response. And she was like, do you have something to say? And I went, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was allowed to speak. I was a little testy. I'll give her that. So then she tells me like, well, you know, you're entitled to a drug card. And she goes, isn't that great? And I was like,
thank you so much.
oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all the free drugs? This is such a great idea. And it was just, I just got through the conversation and I hung up on her and I was done with welfare. Okay? End of story. We make our TV show. We get back on track. It's been 5 years. A couple years ago, I get invited to sit on this board. And so the cases I'm sitting in on are brutal. I can't share any specific details because I don't want to, like, I would hate, I mean, I'm not allowed to talk about what I hear. But the intrusiveness into people's lives, like we're sitting and listening to these cases where there are welfare workers literally out in the community talking to people in the community.
Yeah.
So all they do is claw back welfare money. It's not like there's no, so okay, I might be a little bit biased on this, but
that's kind of why they had you on the board, because you have had experience on the program. You weren't currently using it, but you could kind of give a perspective of somebody that has used welfare before. So,
well, they're they legally have to have at least 2 people on the board that have at least been on social assistance at some point.
Yeah.
Now, there's actually a guideline in there that you could currently be on welfare and serve on the board, but I that's not my experience. So, where was I? So the cases that I've seen, there are still, in this day and age, 2025, people who feel like they had a caseworker who kind of got on their bad side and being, they get kind of saucy. And so there's notes in there about hung up on me or told me swear words, or as soon as we started an investigation, these pictures disappeared off Facebook, but we started the investigation before we let the person know. And it's like, this is disgusting. And so been listening to the cases for a couple of years, and then I get a letter in the mail. We have looked at your income tax return for 2020, and it looks like you may have gotten CERB while on welfare. May have. Like, okay. So, may have. And the evidence is you claimed about the same amount, not the same amount. Now, I don't know. I'm not a tax expert. But if you got CERB, which is a pretty finite number, like, it's fucked up to me. Like, the numbers are not the same. They're close. So they're going ahead on close numbers. And like, oh, so you think I just put different numbers down instead of what was on my forms and like statements. You think I just put a different number down and nobody noticed. Like, okay, fine. So here I am. It's years later. I'm getting on my feet. Things are going well, right? I get this letter and it says, we think you did this. Now, they can't say specifically because they're not really supposed to know. They're not really supposed to be able to see your taxes, but they kind of have like this interface, right? But they can't come out and say, well, what they can say is that we've seen these numbers and they look like this other thing. Like, okay. And so there's steps to the process. Like the first step is there's a caseworker who decides you shouldn't have got welfare during this time. Okay. So there's a person assigned. The first level in the process is you should not have to deal with the person who made the decision. You should be able to talk to his or her supervisor, it's always a fucking girl. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I haven't come across a mean male worker ever in my experience. That's just statistics. That's not a statement about women. That's my statistics, my personal experience. So the lady that decided, she looked at my file and decided. So you don't have to deal with that person. You are entitled to a review by her or his supervisor. Okay. So I'm like, this is fine. This is going to be done in a phone call. So I call in. I get the lady. Okay. I get the actual lady. And I say, okay. She's like, I'm going to look at it now. I can reverse this. She said, I can easily reverse this. I can totally reverse it. It's fine. Okay, we got you. You got authority. I'm very impressed. So I said, I'm requesting a review by your supervisor. Oh, well, I don't know if she's here today. I'll wait. Okay. Supervisor calls me back. And she says, okay, I'm looking at your case. Where did the money come from? And she starts asking for bank statements. And I'm like, hold on. Let's calm down a little tiny bit. I was on a program during COVID under the supervision of the department. It was administered by another agency, but it was under the AESL, guidelines, under the program. She says, I got to admit, I've been here less than a year. I've never heard of that program. This is the supervisor. Okay. The supervisor has never heard of it. So instead of reviewing my case, she gives me back to the CSO who made the decision in the first place. And she is not nice.
Yeah.
She tells me, we're on the call together. Yep. She tells me 5 times, look, I can reverse this right now. Just send your bank statements. I said, I'm not going to do that because I wasn't unwell for the whole year. And was I not clear? She wanted the bank statements for the entire year of 2020. She said, I don't care what's on there. I just want to see where your money came from. And I said, if you don't care what's on there, why do you need to see them? Can I possibly, now, already, my rights are already being trampled on. I was entitled to a review by her supervisor. But for some reason, I'm talking to this lady who may or may not have had her name on some cases that I voted to overturn. Unrelated. Unrelated, I'm sure. I'm still on the board.
Yeah.
So I'm going to her, look, I'm on the board. I don't want this to get to the board. This is embarrassing. I don't want them to see all my welfare, history. This is embarrassing. Just, can I send you an affidavit? Can I sign, I know as a board member what my rights are and what they accept. And I say, look, I'm not comfortable sending you my bank statements because they're not just mine. It's for a corporation. There was some private contracts that I'm not allowed to share. Can I just send you an affidavit? Nope. It's going to be bank statements. But I'm allowed to send. No, it's actually up to me. She says, I want bank statements. And I said, but I am entitled to send an affidavit. Are you telling me that you will not accept? She said, I will only accept your bank statements. It's like, okay, this is obviously all right. So it proceeds. We have to appeal it. We have to put it in writing. We send an appeal in for an internal review. And this is the person this is the level that this is the lady who attends the meetings with us and presents the cases. I'm like, man, as soon as she sees my name and looks at the details, she's going to throw this out. And she doesn't. And then some agent calls me and he's trying to be really nice, but he's not actually being really nice. And I say, look, I was under contract. First of all, there was this chunk of time where this is when I made the money. But besides that, I was allowed to make money for the first few months of the year also. So, you could just, under that umbrella, just fuck off already.
Yeah.
I didn't use those words, obviously. Sorry, I've been trying to clean up the podcast. This is the last one I'm going to use bad words. So, I've been talking about this a long time.
That's all right.
Are you sure is anyone going to benefit from any of this?
This is our weekly therapy.
So, yeah, this is All right. So they look through it and I say to them while they're doing their little investigation, and I've been on the other end of it. So I'm like, look, I'm going to try not to be triggered here. I'm going to try to cooperate, but I'm not going to turn over all my personal financial information to someone on a witch hunt or a fishing expedition. There were months of that year that you don't know what I made. And if you want to just go look at Bell 5 TV, you can see the TV show we made. So
right.
That's not $10. So anyway, I say, can you just go find the contract that I had for the beginning of that year? That should do it. We don't have access to that. But you're the agency that administers it. Yeah, we're not even going to call. So we track it down, walk to the office, and track down a 5-year-old contract with this local agency that was acting for AESL. I go, this should take care of it. Here we go. Sorry for I know this is embarrassing for you guys, but here you are. Here's the proof. That is plenty to write this off. And we get a letter in the mail saying, we're upholding the decision. You have to come sit in front of your co-board members.
Your peers.
Colleagues. And we're going to drag your welfare history onto the table. We're going to ignore the evidence you've sent. We're going to ignore the fact that you didn't get a proper review. We're going to ignore that this person demanded bank statements when an affidavit is also within your rights to provide as proof. Because apparently when you're a welfare recipient, we can't trust what you're saying. You could be saying anything. Like, I could be lying, but not her. Not the person in the office clicking the thing that's got a chip on her shoulder. No, she's telling the truth. I have to prove that I'm telling the truth with, anyway,
yeah.
If anybody has advice on how to get through the next few days, I would certainly appreciate it, because I'm so triggered, and it's so hard to go back. Like, how am I ever supposed to sit on that board after I've been an appellant? And it's like, well, did you do the thing? Like, first of all, no, I didn't. Reasonable people could look at these papers and go, come on, this is ridiculous. Yeah. This is ridiculous. But it's like, are you mad at me? Like, are you mad at me? And so I figure I can tell it now and get some help and advice, or I can just suffer in silence with this thing that's happening. And it's like, if I wasn't so triggered by what it's about, I would talk about it. So if you take away the power of being triggered and this being a touchy point, like, people are on welfare. It's in Canada. It's designed to help you out when you have no other options.
Yeah.
So I went on a tangent, went down a rabbit hole. My apologies to anybody that's been listening to that and going, is she ever going to stop? I don't think, you know what? I know that's not true. If somebody is still listening, they're probably listening and engaged and going,
yeah,
oh my
exactly.
God. Like, because these are normal human stories. And I don't think we know many people who are like, yeah, I'm on the side of the welfare agents.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting to treat people like that.
Right.
And so I know in one meeting it was mentioned that after people have served on this board, it's a 3-year term. So I've got another year to go, and I'm not sure I'm going to complete. I don't think I can finish the term. I don't imagine how I could go in and face everybody. It doesn't matter the outcome of the case. It's sitting there and having to defend myself to these people that I'm a peer. Like, when we listen to cases and we debate, like, are they ever going to look at me again? They probably assumed a lot about me. Well, but to confirm it all and go, yes, I'm on the side of welfare recipients. I think they get a raw deal, and anytime I can possibly do it, I'm going to side. If there's any loophole, I am going to be, voting.
It's almost like everybody is a person that deserves to be heard and listened to. And
well, that's about a hoo-ha right there that you all said. Like, that's why you and I are hippie artists, because we're all too, we haven't really figured out how to toe the company line, and we still have compassion for people. And like, I feel like hanging on to a bit of dignity and humanity is important to me, and that's what I want to be in front of our kids. And so if I ever get to that point where I'm not on the side of somebody who has been bullied by an agent or had their rights stripped away or not respected. And so there was a mention one time, because there's a mix in the room of people who are very diplomatic, and there's people who are like, no, this is the way. She shouldn't have done that. She had no business. I had to pay back my student loans. Like, look, it's not pie. You don't get less because somebody else got a break. It's just like, anyway.
Yes.
It was mentioned in a meeting that sometimes after people serve on this board for 2 or 3 years, they become consultants who help other appellants with their cases, and they figure out, here's what you need to say and here's what you need to do. Unfortunately, because I'm in the hot seat, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I feel like I've written very passionate letters, even ran them through ChatGPT to get tone so I'm not offending anybody.
That's right. And make it nice and professional.
Which I am anyway. Like,
that's right.
I think I'm pretty articulate.
You're a great writer.
Maybe not in person, but on paper I can be articulate as hell. Like, I'm really good at it. And I think I've written 2 heartfelt 3-page, 4-page letters now, outlining everything, and it's like, what is not working here?
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
But a week from now,
like you said, it'll be behind us. Yeah.
It'll be behind us. And it's comical because they just went ahead and put the amount as an owing balance on our CRA account. Like, without the proper procedure. Now it's on our CRA account, which is like, wait, so someone in an office just clicked on her little... Anyway, not going down a rabbit hole. I already told you all the same story already, so I'm not going down there. But if anybody has advice, and I don't care if it's like, here's how to get out of it, here's what to say, or if it's like, look, I'm sending you some love energy.
Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate it, because it's not about the outcome. It's about how it feels to be triggered and to be pushed back against a wall at this age by bullies with a little laptop,
Yeah.
who are working from home and making people's lives miserable, because it's like, first of all, it's not their money. It's not coming out of their pocket. But like, even if like I didn't even break any rules, they are looking at something and interpreting it a certain way. And it's like, come on, like, I'm telling you what happened. And they're going, nope, I think you're trying to lie to us. Like, why would I risk...
Right.
So there's
Ridiculous.
an arsehole. Everybody's got an opinion, just like arseholes. Some of them stink. Is that the phrase? Is that what the hell that goes?
That's pretty good, yeah. We'll use that.
Anyway, there's where we are. So anyway, that's what's going on.
That was the Are You Mad at Me segment?
That's the Are You Mad at Me segment. So it's been like kind of an it's kind of been like looming, and like, no, I'm not thinking about it, but I am. So I'm afraid to go to the mailbox. I'm afraid of my phone ringing. Like, I'm afraid of, like, I'm having nightmares about seeing the board members' faces while I'm pleading my case to them. And it's like, I don't want to be in a position where I need a favor from them, or like I need them to think like, oh, we've had arguments about cases, like we were peers.
Yeah.
And now I need to hope that they are going to be impartial and,
for you.
and smart and like apply common sense and apply the rules the way I'm interpreting or interpreting them. Anyway, I think it's it's gross. And, but I was very inspired by that book, and I'm really glad. I still believe this. Things come into your life, information comes into your life when you are ready to use it. And so that book recommendation, reading that woman's story was like, oh my God. And the details were like, oh my God. I could never say that out loud.
Yeah.
Even if it has happened, the details were like, oh my God, it's writing honest about so much of my life. It was, it was like, I have a ways to go. And she's also a very successful comedian. So, setting goals is great. And the other segment was about our passports. Talked about the passports a lot. Trying to manifest an RV trip across Canada and the United States. And the first thing is to have passports. Did a whole thing about them, filled them out, dropped them off. Very proud of ourselves. Every single application came back. Every single one of them. 3 passports came back. Okay, the problem with my kids' applications was... I
mean, if you want to look at it, 4 came back because my permanent resident application, the photo I attached to it was not... I mean, it was my own fault because I got cocky.
Yeah, I mean...
I tried to avoid...
Tell me how you got cocky.
You got to do a photo, like any passport or, whatever application. Yeah. You got to do a photo, and the rules in Canada are it has to be done at a professional photo studio.
And what are the rules in the United States?
It literally says on the U.S. passport application website, like, get your friend or your family member to take a picture of you, and it just has to be contrast and all that stuff.
There has to be a certain inches above the thing for headroom, and there has to be no stuff on your face, nothing can like.
And then in Canada, it's like it says it has to be a professional photo studio, and I'm like, all right, I've got a professional photo like camera. I've taken photography class. I've been paid to take pictures. What makes me any less professional than anybody else? If someone owns a photo studio, can they not use their own studio to do their? So I took the picture. It was good. It fit all the requirements. I put on the back of it Josh Morgan video and like my
credential.
my credential, sure.
Facebook page.
My Facebook page, yeah. And they came back and they were like, yeah, no, it wasn't at a professional photo. I'm like, prove it.
So
anyway,
it's a little bit possible in Canada that some of the rules and regulations are in place because someone in power has some friends who own photo studios. And I mean, you haven't been here long enough to really say one way or the other.
Luckily,
I have been here a long time, and I know some of the things are in place to grease the palms of certain organizations. Now, Canada's a great place, but some of the stuff is a little underhanded. And depending on the party in power, I'm not declaring any sort of support for either side, but sometimes the rules change when the power changes.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about impartial rules. We're talking about rules that serve, and Canada is a democracy, and sometimes the rules change based on the party in power. I'm
luckily,
just pointing out facts.
When you guys went and got your passport photos, I sat down and got mine for the permanent resident card just to be on the safe side, because I figured in case they come back and say that my photo's no good, I'll have another one. So they came back and said my photo was no good. I sent off the one we had already done. So, I'm just waiting. But so you and the boys, all three of those passport applications came back. My permanent resident card renewal application came back.
So it's a good thing we didn't have any invitations to leave the country this week. Okay, so the boys' applications, turns out you can't renew a child's passport in Canada. You have to apply for a brand new one.
Every 5 years, because they're much different than they were 5 years ago.
Doesn't matter. It's the same person. The same birth certificates, the same parents, the same background.
Different faces.
But you have to, and it's not a renewal. It doesn't matter that you've already had a passport in Canada. And I don't know, at some point, someone probably took some kids and took them across the border. And there's probably, for every warning, there's probably some idiot that did something back then. And it's probably a safety thing that I don't understand. So
it just didn't work out for us.
Both kids' applications come back without a guarantor on there, because for a renewal, you don't need one. Turns out there's an application for a child's passport, and there's rules that you don't need a renewal. Anyway, brand new application needs to be sent in with a guarantor. Okay, no problem. Good news is a parent can be a guarantor unless
their passport's expired.
Exactly. Guess whose passport application got sent back? This is a real funny one.
That makes sense, because when your passport expires, you're not a Canadian citizen anymore. You're not a live person.
You don't exist.
You can discontinue your existence when your passport expires.
All right. This is can you put a little star asterisk on this, like sarcasm? Okay. So I don't usually call places. I usually try to get it done with the paperwork. Like immigration stuff was awful, and they put stuff like in a sentence that even native English speakers are going, what?
Yeah.
What?
Legal speak. It's not even legal speak.
It's not.
Immigration
it's
speak.
Looping around. It's do this, but then stand on your head with one foot in the air and one arm scratching your left bum cheek, and your toenail needs to be 0.4 millimeters beyond your right finger. It's difficult, okay? Even if English is your first language. So how anybody's getting into the country is beyond me. I mean, maybe that's how the lawyers make. Again, if you got to bring in an immigration lawyer to get your status, like if someone is making money,
that's right,
off those the applications don't make sense. Anyway, so I get the application back. All three returned in the mail. All three in separate express post envelopes, $30 a piece. Okay, I spent $30 to send it. They spent $90 to send it back to me. I need to send them back up again. Okay. So I call the 1-800 number. By the third rejected application, I'm going, all right, now I'm
What did I do wrong now?
Now I'm mad. So I call the 1-800 number, and I get a lovely gentleman on the phone. He's very patient. I'm not swearing. I'm not yelling. I'm just saying, okay, I sent this application up. It got rejected, and I don't understand why. There's a bunch of stuff highlighted on the application that doesn't make any sense. Like they wanted my marriage certificate. He goes, oh. He gets my passport number, looks me up in the system, and he says, oh, I can see what happened. I said, okay. He said, you filled out the wrong application. He said, you need to fill out the adult renewal application that doesn't require a guarantor. It doesn't require any documentation. You just fill it out, put your old passport number on there, and send it off. And I'm like, hold on a second. Everything you just told me I need to provide is in this application. He said, yes, but it's the wrong form.
It's the wrong piece of paper.
So instead of letting this Canadian get her passport document and travel,
they sent it
back because the stuff they needed wasn't on the right piece of paper. All the information was there. I guess at some point, maybe some terrorist came to Canada and slipped through with a passport application, and it got put through, and now nobody can ever do that again. But I'm just going to ask one question, and it's a little facetious, okay? Many, 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 many years ago. I mean, maybe like 30 years ago. Maybe 40 years ago. I don't know. But a long time ago, there was an organization in Newfoundland. It was an orphanage. And there was a whole bunch of Christian brothers and people, law enforcement, social workers, welfare workers. No offense. It's not related. But Many years ago, there was an orphanage where all these children had the shit beat out of them. They were sexually abused. They were raped. They were pitted against each other. And a whole bunch of people got in trouble because it turns out everybody knew it was happening. Everybody. Top to bottom. Teachers, welfare workers, social workers, police officers, clergy. They all knew. They were all in on it. They were all actually doing a lot of stuff to the kids. So all these rules came out to make sure it never happened again. So obviously, in Newfoundland, if you're afraid of your kids being abused, come to Newfoundland, because all of our rules now make sure that never happens. We have zero cases of abuse in Newfoundland now. Can you put the sarcasm?
Sarcasm, yeah.
Yeah. It's rampant. It's just as bad as it ever was. And the stuff that happens here is like, we just found, people have found ways to circumvent the system. And so they'll say things like, now, if you tell me this thing, I will have to report it. So you're not telling me about abuse, right? Like, as a person who has reported abuse, they'll actually ask you questions so that you can get around it if you want to. Or like if you go to the hospital, I'm just going to pretend that there's a human standing next to me. When you go to the hospital and they say, are you safe? They'll ask you right in front of your partner. It's the funniest little thing, because it's like, if I was safe, couldn't you ask me when, I don't know, the person who you think is doing it to me was out of the room? It's like, the rules they're in place because someone messed up. I get that. And how they're enforced is like, it's still being run by a whole lot of crooked people. Anyway, there's a whole book there. Or maybe a series of books, but like, I wouldn't. I mean, would I write about that, I wonder? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, because it's like, well, I mean, what have I got to lose? Like, seriously. I don't know. Probably a lot. So maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. But it's very frustrating.
So the passport applications are redone and ready to be sent again.
Yes, it's all done. It all got done. But it was like, what am I learning from this? Like, am I going to get an 8-minute segment on our podcast?
It's that thing of somebody saying, praying for patience, and God or the universe saying, well, here's a bunch of situations where you're going to need to be patient. Is that what's happening?
I'm going to pull a Josh, so nothing happened. Nothing bad happened to us. It's just like a thing that we got on our calendar right now. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's all fine. It'll all work out. And one way or the other, whatever the outcome is of the case, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. It's just do it. Make your decision. Like, why do I need to be there for it? Like, does it matter if I'm even there? And we both have to go sit through it. And yeah, that's going to be fun at the next meeting next month. Probably just whatever. It's just so messed up. And I'm not suggesting for a second that I expect special treatment. I expect common sense. It's right there. Like, I wrote a book about it. I couldn't have been more public about what happened during 2020. It's out there. Maybe I'm just trying to get people to buy my book. I don't know.
There you go.
On that note, where are we?
Marketing.
Let's talk about my books.
So many books.
I think what you're saying about, I kind of been pushed back a little bit thinking, what am I broadcasting out there that is attracting these experiences into my life? And you might be right. Maybe I'm supposed to learn something from it. That's a weird way to look at stuff because, I already learned a lot. So, can we just have some fun now?
You got to keep learning.
Yeah. So, we got a brand new book client.
Self Publishing Corner.
Yeah, we got a brand new book coming out probably in the next few weeks. So we'll keep you posted on that. And let's switch gears. And you can just cut the first 50 minutes out of this. Nobody needs to hear anything that I was talking about. October is right around the corner, which is self-publishing month.
Yay.
So the books, got a new book into Indigo, which is Chapters and Coles here in Newfoundland. And also went ahead and put them on Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Nook, Overdrive. So any of the librarians listening, you can access the books now on there. I just had them audiobook posted today. Here's a really funny thing that's happened on Facebook. I posted on Facebook today. Guess what? My audiobook, and I just heard it. Like, I thought you weren't going to post on Facebook anymore, Vickie. Anyway, here's a development with Facebook, and I'd love to know if anybody's having similar experiences. On my personal page, I posted today and said, I had two experiences, and they are both related. Yesterday, I posted on Facebook, can anyone be a guarantor for my kids on their passport applications? It was posted for half an hour. I have thousands of people connected on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
It's unheard of for it to get nothing. No response.
Yeah.
So I left it for half an hour, and Josh was like, just leave it up. See, just give people a chance. Like, no, it's hot and sticky. It's a Sunday evening. This is when everybody's on Facebook. So it was a little weird that my post asking for a guarantor got nothing. So I took it down, posted with a new picture, with a new caption that I thought was even more clever. Crickets. Nothing. Like, okay, something's going on. So then I did a Facebook Live, because apparently that'll still go in. It'll show up on everybody's everybody's notifications. And
Ideally.
say, Vickie Morgan's going live. I don't think that happened because my live had one view, and I looked over at Josh's phone, and it was him. So, and then usually you'll see people seeing it afterwards. Nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I just did it the old-fashioned way, and I just emailed some people and asked if they could be. So that's all done. So today, the audiobook went live on Amazon. So How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer is now ebook, audiobook, and paperback. And it miraculously linked together. So
that's crazy.
It's like, these are little tiny things that sometimes requires a call to customer service for them to get you to link up and put all your reviews in one place and all that. So the audiobook, smooth sailing, showed up on Amazon. It was awesome. I shared it on Facebook. And Facebook put a little note, a little button on the bottom, asking me if I wanted to boost it on my personal page. Now, if you have a group or a business, boosting is pretty standard.
Yeah,
but to boost on your personal page it either shows up in your friend's feed or it doesn't. So boosting it, wait a second.
Would you like to pay money for people to see your social media feed posts?
But it's my personal page.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally sure. So I feel like there might be some keeners listening going, well, Vickie, come on. I mean, what do you expect? You're trying to sell your book here. Yeah, but I'm not breaking any of the rules, and they're harvesting my information to make billions of dollars off their platform. So I'm actually providing a whole bunch of information to them. So in return, me posting to my friends that the audiobook is available is like, yes, it's a business thing. However, it had 0 views, and it offered to boost it. And because I didn't boost it, nobody saw it. I'm just going to say, if anybody has any thoughts or opinions on that or knows something about what's going on with Meta right now, it was a very curious situation where I'll boost it. I mean, I have that's no problem. I'm just surprised that something on my personal page got, what would you call it? Kept or not censored, but like not distributed.
Throttled.
Throttled is a really great word for it. It was throttled, and it's like, but I've posted lots of stuff on my Facebook page about other things I'm doing, whether it's an event or whatever. But like yesterday, my post getting throttled by looking for a guarantor. I mean, that's not a paid thing. I don't make any money from that. And the other person, it wasn't a paid, there was no exchange.
If social media is not going to allow you to ask your friends for help with a social thing, like, then what's the point of social media? It's almost like it's an evil corporation.
Anyway, we're just going to post this on YouTube now and Spotify. But like,
Brought to you by Meta.
There are still ways to communicate with people, and podcasting. I had an interesting story recently. I don't know if it's interesting or not.
I'm sure it is. I don't know what you're going to say. But I'm sure
someone said to me, we were catching up, and someone said, I don't know what I was talking about. It was related to something. And I said, yeah, when I had the lump in my breast or whatever, it was kind of like a life-changing, kind of gave me a different perspective. And they were like, wait, what? You had a lump in your breast? Why didn't you tell me? Well, I broadcast it on my podcast, and people reached out, and I got through it, and it's over. And are you trying to tell me you don't listen to my podcast? So I hear the maggots in my head going, Vickie, you think everybody should listen to your podcast? Yeah, I do. Because I would listen to my friends' podcasts, even when they're boring, even when they're about, like, I've had friends launch their podcasts, and I listen because I'm a friend. And when someone publishes a book, I buy their book. And when their kids are selling Girl Scout cookies or Girl Guide cookies, I buy their damn cookies. And when they're doing a play at the LSPU Hall, I go to their plays because I'm a human and I like people. And yeah, I shared on a forum where I feel safe and seen and validated. And I appreciate every single person that listens to this podcast. And I appreciate when people reach out and say, hey, I'm working on a new book, or hey, I'm working on my side hustle, or I'm working on this new thing. Thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for what you said last week. Thanks for the shout out. I appreciate it. And this is the forum where I'm connecting. So I'm sorry if you didn't know what was going on and you couldn't find time to listen to the podcast that is, promoting. It's not, I don't know what the turnoff is. I can't explain why someone's not here But it was like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, I'm embarrassed for you that my friends knew.
I'm just embarrassed for you. That's all.
I don't know how else to say it. Like my friends knew. And as far as like reaching out individually to people who don't care enough to listen to the podcast when it's very personal. And I do post on Facebook and say, I'm oversharing on the podcast again this week. There's another episode dropping. Like I couldn't put it in more plain language. I share my stuff on my podcast because I love to share and I love to broadcast and I love writing and I love connecting with people through this medium. I love it. And I recommend it to everybody. I really do. And so if you're not tuning to my frequency, of course you wouldn't know what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
And so like, it's not on me. Like, look, I already broadcast it. And then we go back to our lives and we binge watch The Rookie, and which I'm loving, by the way. Or we're still catching up on Nate's podcast. Also, highly recommend it. And I watched earlier today, I watched The Tennessee Kid again because he's so funny. He's just so funny and so
special.
benign, and he just delivery. It just makes me feel good all over. And I just love it. I just think he's so funny and genuine, and like, he just makes me laugh. And he doesn't offend. Like, I don't feel, icky about anything. It's just, I just love it. And so I'm really glad that I found that my news feed, thanks to Facebook for something, I'm glad the feed brought me some of his clips and introduced me to that comedy when I really needed it. And even now, it's just a comfort. It's a comfort food. He's like mac and cheese. I don't know. He got a new dog. He got a new dog. It was so sweet. It was in the last special that he wanted a second dog, and he brought it up on stage in front of, like, I don't know, a whole pile of people. And he's like talking about the dog and how he got her from the ASPCA, and she looks like she came from a castle, even though she's a rescue. And then he kissed her on the head. Like, there are people who go like this with dogs. Like, that's okay. Like, if you don't like dogs, that's totally fine. But like, someone who can actually kiss their dog on the head is like so cute.
We walk down the road sometimes with our dogs, and even if we just have one of them or something, and people like skirt around or take the long way out around the sidewalk, like, are you scared of this adorable little beagle? Like, geez.
I don't even see that. Like,
it's not that often, but sometimes
it happens.
It's like, what is wrong with you?
I'm thankfully not even aware of that sort of, like, I feel like I'm pretty tuned in to people who are looking back and smiling, and that's kind of, so like, there are dogs that I see coming. There are certain breeds that the boys make fun of me because the dogs, the ones that I'm afraid of, will come up and like lick our kids and like pet them, and they roll over on the ground, and you let them. I think
one of the boys' favorite breeds is pit bull.
Yeah, and they make fun of me every single time we meet a nice one, and I've grown very accustomed, like very what's the word?
You're getting more used to it.
I really do. I'm starting to really love them. They're
those
very
big stupid
sweet.
heads.
They're so sweet.
Giant mouths.
And they're big, like, they're just so expressive, and like, just, they're, the beasts of the planet. They're so, like, birds. Birds are starting to grow on me too. Like, they just seem to land right in front of me sometimes, or they get real close. And like, this time of year, there's lots of butterflies, and I'm really digging it. And so I'm really, really looking forward to getting out in the RV and meeting people and doing open book events across the country and interviewing people for the new show. And I'm excited about that. And we're still trying to figure out, and I'm open to suggestions on this. I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate the interviews so that it's not just 2 Zoom pictures. Like, that's great for podcasting, but I feel like if I'm going to get it on TV, and I might be overcomplicating. I haven't seen public access TV in a while. Maybe that's all that's on there. But there are shows where people go out and like go into the woods with a camera and show how to build a log cabin. Yeah. So like, I feel like 2 side by side, just doing a remote interview. I want to do something a little bit more dynamic if I'm going to send it to public access TV. So I'm trying to figure out, that's why I brought Paula, because I'm kind of, what I'm envisioning and hoping for is to have authors from anywhere, and having them come on and talk about their book, talk about the book. And I don't need to have read it. Like, I really want to have Ashley Brooke on. Yeah. I don't know if it's Brooke or Brooks. I really want to have her on. I have read her book, but I don't need to have done that. Like, if someone explaining what it's about is more than enough. Talking about their process, I really want to meet people who are comfortable talking about a fail story. Yeah. Because I think we learn a lot more from those than we ever do from successes. And then I think a little segment on just a little tutorial, kind of like an educational piece, or maybe just like a fun thing, maybe delivered with Paula here, where she talks about self-publishing, or I don't know, some of the pitfalls or some of the things that happen or whatever.
What were we going to say about your books?
Well, I had an idea before I went down that rabbit hole and spent most of the podcast talking about it. I was thinking about we should shoot promos that you can easily cut from the podcast so that we don't, because we talk about doing
Promo
stuff.
number 1, start now. Just kidding.
All right.
We get a clacker.
All right. What's this one? Let's put them in order. So these bare bones books are adorable. And someone saw them today and said, it looks like when you used to wrap your books in brown paper when you were in school. So it's a self-publishing guide to paperbacks, eBooks, and marketing your books. These are 5x8. Like, they're so friggin' cute.
They're little. They're pocket. Put them in your pocket.
They're mini books. They're less than 60 pages each. Pretty compact. No fluff whatsoever, just the guide. And then there's How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer is now available. Are we doing ads here? Let's do an ad for the podcast. Let's do one as though nobody's ever seen the podcast before. And
this is the marketing corner.
Well,
marketing segment of our podcast.
You know, I don't know. I'm running out of steam.
Running out of steam.
Well, I do have an apple pie upstairs that I'm waiting to put my face right in the middle of. Okay. Hey, I'm Vickie.
I'm Josh.
And this is the Are You Mad at Me podcast. And every single Wednesday, we talk about self-publishing and marketing and whatever kind of mess I got myself into. So could be just about anything. But make sure you listen. We're on every single Wednesday. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, YouTube podcasts. YouTube is free. I'll just let you know. It's the easiest one. You don't have to sign up for anything. We do a video. We do a video version on there, or you can just put it on, listen to it in the background. Yeah. It's mostly me talking. Josh kind of jumps in every now and then.
Also Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Yep. And what's the other one?
Is it iHeartRadio?
It's on Apple. It's on Apple. Whatever device, whatever thing they got going on. But anyway, it's anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have a pretty good time.
Yeah.
We've been married for
19 years.
19 years. Yeah, I knew that. And so we'd love it if you'd listen and tell your friends about it. Get in touch if you have any questions. We talk a lot about self-publishing because I'm a self-published author. Josh is my graphic designer. And we just get on and, have a good time every week. And people write in and tell us what they're working on and all that sort of stuff. And anyway. And make sure you, subscribe, comment, leave a thing, send us a blood sample, send us your social insurance number, whatever you feel inclined to do.
Are you mad at me?
Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? High five. Should we put a high five in there? All right. Okay. Book promo. In the marketing book, I talk a lot about, not a lot. It's an introduction to marketing. It's not going to be the be all end all. It's not going to tell you everything you need to know. It's just somewhere to get started. It's like, I talked to my friend Tina earlier this evening, and she said she feels guilty because she hasn't been doing a lot of marketing on her book. And I said, well, we talk about you every week on the podcast. So we can cut clips from this and we can post, because Self-Publishing Month is coming up. Again, I invented it. It's not even real.
That's right.
But over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be getting in touch with a whole lot of places, asking them if I can come in and do signings, if we can come in and set up tables for all the clients we've had, and have us all there in one place, and like maybe some readings and some workshops and seminars to learn how to learn how to do self-publishing. And of course, but hand in hand with that, and I think we tried to do this last year, to have audio production workshops where we can teach people how to record their audiobooks or how to start a podcast. Yeah. Because I say it's simple because all I do is come down and sit down and yammer on for an hour, and then it just turns up on YouTube.
One of the things that you talked about recently was the idea of making a new podcast, a separate podcast, where you sit down and read a chapter of one of your books each episode. Yeah. So it's kind of like the same idea of an audiobook, but it's a podcast. It's on Spotify or YouTube. It's a different way to, so like those
like a serial,
like people have scripted podcasts or whatever. It's that's a great way to market one of your books, all of your books individually. If you wanted to do separate, like a For the Grace of Joe podcast, a How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking podcast, and then just you have 20 chapters, 20 episodes, one per chapter, and that's a great idea. I think that's a good,
I like that.
On top, aside from the idea of doing a podcast where it's just us talking about self-publishing and marketing and what's going on during our week, it's another way to market the book.
So if you're thinking about publishing a book,
and podcasting is free. Like, you can get fancy microphones, or you can pay for hosting or whatever, but you could just use YouTube or use Spotify or use, rent a mic from one of your local music stores and use it for the
Or if you
weekend.
have a musician friend or whatever. There's lots of ways to
use
get it
your
done.
phone.
You'll find ways and the resources will show up when you're ready for it if it's something that you actually want to do. And if it's a money thing where you feel like you can't afford to do the things, write that down and say, I found a mic that I want. It's $57 or it's $427. Write it down and see how fast it shows up. I'm just saying. That's kind of how it goes. And I'm not the only person saying that kind of stuff. There's a whole lot. Go look on YouTube and ask and look up manifesting and law of attraction and all that stuff.
There's
and see
so many vision board videos on our YouTube lately.
See if it doesn't show up for you when you actually say it out loud and think about how much fun you'd have and all that stuff. It's great. So what do we want from this? So this book here, How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, I got a couple more reviews over the last few weeks.
Your second major bestseller.
Yeah. I like these little books. They're pretty fun. And thinking about marketing and stuff like that, like I'm excited to talk about them and meet other authors and find out what their process is. And I'm excited to get writing again because I feel like I got a lot of stuff done and I'm giving myself permission to like move on to the next thing, which is probably going to be the public access show. I do have a few episodes that I think we could cut together of people who've already been on the show or the radio show for that matter and put those out and have like little segments of, if you want to switch from Amazon to draft to digital, not switch from, in addition to. And I thought this was kind of a funny story. One of the things about self-publishing is, you do actually get to pick what you want to put in there. And on one of our previous episodes, I talked about this first chapter in the book and I read it and then decided not to put it in because it was kind of... So there was a gentleman. I have a comedy set about it. This is not a secret. I had this gentleman friend who liked to send me pictures of himself.
Selfies and whatnot?
No, not selfies. Not really.
Pictures of himself with fish after he would go fishing?
No, also not that. Anyway, but comical... Anyway, it was just one of those weird situations that was going on, and I was like, I can't handle this by myself. I need to share this with a wider audience, and it definitely made me feel better because people came up and said, anyway, I won't spread anybody else's stories, but anyway, I didn't include the chapter, but I did read it on the podcast, and I did ask him.
So there could be a whole demographic of people out there that are buying your book and like, where is that paragraph or that chapter
maybe
that she read on the podcast?
Well, it was why I named it How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer. And it was because this person who was sending me these pictures of himself was saying things to me like, oh, when I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to a famous sexy musician. So I changed it a little bit because anyway. And then like he bought one of my books. He bought the How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking and he left a review on there and he said, if you had put me in the book, I would have given it 5 stars. And so then I was kind of joking and kind of afraid he'd see it, but I put this chapter in there about that, and I showed it to him, and he was fine with it. It actually says in here that he was sending me pictures of his genitals and what he was saying to me behind his wife's back, and he was fine with it. I have it in writing. He said, I'm fine with that. And then he said, although I didn't know you did a comedy set about me. I was like, ooh. I mean, I posted it on Facebook unless it was throttled and you didn't see it. Right. But it's also on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see it. But anyway, that's the name. And I just didn't want to associate this self-publishing guide with that sort of smutty sort of, I just didn't want to, I just didn't want to bring that into this new experience. Anyway, it's a funny story.
It was a good choice with the editing. I think it's one of those deleted scenes.
It didn't add anything, but
the book's great.
It's a deleted scene. Yeah.
Is this a proof?
That's a proof copy. That still has the chapter in it. I'm pretty sure that's the one I read from. And so, For the Grace of Joe is there's a big news article going around right now that the American Physicians Association or something has made a whole bunch of new discoveries, and they're changing their approach to how they treat families who. All right, I'm going to start over. Recently, you may have seen an article about the APA, the American Physicians Association, and how they treat families who have had a diagnosis of trisomy 13, and they're revamping a whole lot of outdated ideas. And so I would like to think that sharing our story helped shape some of that, and I think the more people share their stories of trisomy 13, babies with trisomy 13, I think it's going to change the landscape. So this is, Josh and I wrote this a few years ago. It's called For the Grace of Joe. And it's on all your favorite retailers. It's just about everywhere. And
in paperback, ebook, and audiobook form.
Yeah. And so it's about our journey with getting diagnosis when I was still pregnant. And it was a mess. It was a mess before, during, and after. I was a mess after. We had a rainbow baby. We had a rainbow pregnancy after that. It was worse, I think, in a lot of ways than the actual pregnancy that ended in stillbirth, because it was finding healthcare, finding a yoga class that would welcome me. It was a nightmare. All like the family relationships and the friendships. I mean, it destroyed. It just imploded. Everything imploded and crawled our way back. And I think we're 11 years out, 12 years out now. And so I was wondering the other day, like after I read Ashley's book, I thought, you know what? I might write another book about being 12 years later and
That's
how
true,
it
yeah.
is now. Because I remember when there was a few ladies that came as guest speakers to our grief support group in Portland who talked about having, it was 10 years later. And I couldn't imagine it being 10 years later,
Right.
like what your life looks like and how you incorporate these memories and how you still, how you still honor the baby that didn't get to be with you. And anyway, For the Grace of Joe, I hope you read it. I hope you like it. And I hope you send it if you know somebody that's going through a diagnosis like that. I hope you'd share it with them, because I do believe that it will help. I think it helps to hear other people's stories in those situations. And I'm proud of it. I really like that book. And I think, again, coming up, the reason we started Self Publishing Month last year was because I was trying to figure out a way that I could reconcile in my own head marketing
Right.
that book.
Yep.
And that was how I did it. It was like, at least it was self-published. Like maybe that's the umbrella, because coming out with a story that's like about mental health and about shitty doctors in Maine and, just this system and all the stigma around having a child with any kind of special needs. It was really gross. And, hats off to people like Ashley Brooke who paved the way and say, you know what, it's okay to tell these stories and
be honest.
And because they help people. They do help people. And I know reading her book made me feel so much better about some of the experiences that I've had. And, this is the beautiful thing about writing. All right, here we go. This is How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking by Vickie Morgan. That's me. And this is all about my journey as a filmmaker and TV host over the last number of years. And I made it. This was about a documentary film series that got rejected by a broadcaster. They hated it, and they said, we will pay you to never show it to anybody ever. Which, at the time was devastating, but kind of became a funny story and became a set that I did. I did a comedy set about it, and it went really well. And so there's lots of stories in here. If you like Alan Doyle, you're going to love this book. And if you love Alan Doyle, you're going to identify with. If you imagine ways that you could do things with him, like shows and plays and writing songs and all those. Like if you actually dream at night of all the things you'd love to do.
You're just whittling down your demographic.
You're going to love this book because it's like, I hear you, sister. But he is a wonderful human being, and he's been very supportive in so many ways. But this story of trying to get this documentary series put together was a whole lot of asking Alan during pandemic years of asking him to be involved, and me being devastated because he wasn't able to. And then, and then he does say yes. I do find him one day on the side of a road, and I do ask him, and, we exchange contact information. And anyway, you'll have to read the book. No, that's kind of how
teaser.
That's where it all starts. But it was really, really great, and I'm proud of that book too. And so October's coming up. Self Publishing Month is coming up just around the corner. So if you're involved in that, please use the hashtag Self Publishing Month, or October is. And also, when you're doing hashtags, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but if you put a capital letter at the beginning of each word in your hashtag, I know it looks really messy, but for anyone who's using a screen reader, it's actually more accessible, because otherwise it's just a garble of words and it's not accessible to people who are using screen readers. So that's why I do that. So if you're using the hashtag, please, October is Self Publishing Month, or just hashtag. And I would encourage you to reach out to your local bookstores. If you tell them it's Self Publishing Month, they will believe you, because it's a real thing now. And they'll go, oh yeah, they'll probably say,
obviously we knew about that.
We were planning some of our own events, and we're so glad you got in touch. But it's fine. It will happen. It will take off. It already is. And we're looking forward to it. So I don't know what we're going to do this year for it. I don't know if we'll have the workshops we tried, the open book night. I'd like to have it maybe in a different location. I definitely want self-published writers to get in touch with me. And it's a chance to read from your book, sell some copies, meet other authors, meet some fans and readers. And it's a great little social networking kind of thing. where, you know, you get to learn a little bit about, and maybe you pick up some marketing tips, or maybe we get some footage of you reading your book and you can use that for your video promo, or, you know, it's a good marketing opportunity.
Marketing and networking.
Like at the marketing meetup we went to,
That's
where
right.
they had headshots. Like, we will have video there to have people doing their reading. So I'm looking forward to October. It's off in the distance, but I'm looking forward to it. And just got to get this garbage out of the way over the next couple of weeks, and then I can have a clear head again. I just hate this stuff. Like, I just want it to be...
Yeah, it'll be
I know in
soon.
a couple of weeks it'll be a history. Like, I'll be looking back at this episode going, it was all no big deal.
Yeah.
Or that was terrible and we survived anyway. It could go either way. But anyway, I encourage you to tell your stories. It's okay. It's going to be okay on the other side of it. And it's okay. I mean, it just feels so good to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
Because there's more room on the outside than there is on the inside. And so keep writing. That's my mantra, is keep writing no matter what's going on. Whether you're writing in a journal or working on a new book, or if you're just writing down a script because you want to start a podcast. It's amazing to connect with people in a real way with who you really are.
Yeah.
It's not fake. It's not, you know, it's not just marketing. I mean, it is marketing. Letting people get to know you makes it easier for people to hire you and
That's
trust
right.
you and know what they're getting. And so you skip over all the dating garbage of getting to know each other.
Courting.
And like, can I trust courting? It's maybe dating was probably the wrong word. I'm not looking to date anybody. Please don't ask me out, and please don't send me pictures of your genitals. But if you do, I will put you in the next book. And I will tell you that I did get in touch with the gentleman and tell him I didn't use that chapter. And he said, oh, well, no 5 stars for you. So I am still trying. My 5-star rating on this book is still recovering. It's still not 5 stars because it's still compensating for his review, which, you know, what a friend. Yay.
Is that your final thoughts?
I don't know. What are my final thoughts?
Keep writing.
Keep writing. And I don't know. I'm just really grateful for people like Hannah, who would recommend a book like Ashley's and open up your brain. Like, it's just amazing that friends can do that for other friends. And Hannah's recommending my book to other people. And it's like, wait, it can be like this?
Supportive and encouraging?
And I really want to say, like, it makes up for the other folks who aren't listening, who aren't reading your book, who aren't giving you like what you need from the friendship. Like, that's okay. They have their own path. There's lots of room for everybody. But when you find people that actually light you up, it's profound. It makes it worth living. It makes it so much like you go back to your kids and you're a better mom. And you feel better about yourself, and your clothes fits better because you don't feel like a big sack of potatoes. You know, like, it just makes everything feel better. And it's like most of the time it costs nothing to be kind to people. Yeah. So I don't understand it. The other way, it's just so easy to be kind, and you get so much back. Yep. So I don't know. That's my final thought: is just be nice to people. And every now and then you're still going to come across arseholes, but just tell me about them. I'll tell the story on the podcast if you want me to. Come on the podcast, talk about it. There you go. Because that's, you know, we'll call it just the Are You Mad at Me segment, and then we'll just move on to the rest of the fun stuff.
Roll right into it.
Do you have any final thoughts, Josh Morgan?
Beagles and pit bulls are not scary. Don't be scared of them.
Is that what you got? All right, here's Paula's final thoughts. What do we got, Paula?
Well, I've been thinking this whole time that you were ranting and raving about Newfoundland. And, well, did you do it?
What kind of question is that?
Well, did you?
I mean, no.
Like, for real?
For real. I didn't do anything wrong.
You're, like, they're really just being arseholes?
I mean, is it ironic that the girl's name is actually Karen?
What?
Her name is Karen, so she's not doing any favors to people named Karen.
Okay, I take it back.
This is Paula. Paula is my inner voice, and she says things that that I'm thinking, and I'm just afraid to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Paula, how do you feel about us doing a public access show where we actually like have you on as a character?
I love that part.
Where we, you know, talk to authors and talk about their process and talk about their most.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking maybe you and I could team up and maybe write some like children's books. Like,
why children's books?
Well, because you're a puppet, and that's kind of comical, and you know. maybe there's some stories that we could tell. I got some dirty. No. I think, Paula, can you just answer the question? Like, do you want to write some books with me or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the first time we did a show, it didn't end well. Yeah, that was not good. But I did put you on the cover. Paula's on the cover there. That's us driving the car. And I think we could do another show. We should give it another chance. And I made you this nice sweater. Yeah, it's really warm. It's like 30 degrees and I have a sweater on. But God forbid Vickie doesn't get to show off her sweater because it's all about Vickie. Right, Josh?
Do I need to shut it down, you guys?
What? No, we're just getting started. Paula, fix your glasses. Look,
Thank you for listening to the Are You Mad at Me podcast.
Thank you. I'm Paula. Paula 80.
Don't yell into the mic, Paula.
What?
Don't yell into the mic, Paula.
Oh, sorry. This is Paula 80, and I'm very happy to be here. Please get in touch if you want to be on our show. It's called Are You Mad at Me? Well, you're not mad at me because I'm awesome.
Good night, Paula.
But you might be mad at Vickie because she's kind of a loose cannon. Okay, but that's enough for murmur.
Thank you for listening. This is episode 38 of Are You Mad at Me?
I think we went off the deep end. Get in touch if you want to be on the show. If you're a writer, if you've got a published book,
yes.
or if you've got that's the guideline is if you have a published book,
right.
And possibly if you're working on one, I think we could also talk because by the time it airs, your book will be out, and then you can, So the thing with the public access is you can't do a call to action. I can tell people about your book. I just can't tell them to go buy it, but I can tell them where they can find it. So that's kind of the rule of public access. So we're going to keep within those guidelines, and it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to hearing about other people's books and what they did to smooth out the
make it happen.
wrinkles. And I think starting off, they probably just wrote the book.
Yeah.
They started with writing. So
That's
keep
right.
writing. I'm going to stop talking now. And anyway, it's been great. Thank you for listening, as always. And we love you guys. And stay safe. And, keep cool, keep writing, and keep doing your fun stuff. And I'm about to get the giant hook. But anyway, thanks for listening. I'm Vickie Morgan.
I'm Josh Morgan. We'll see you next week.